We all remember the girl who broke the internet with a single scream, but few realized she was actually screaming for a way out. For years, the world wondered why the most explosive talent to ever grace the reality television stage seemed to vanish just as she was expected to take over the charts. In early 2018, Courtney Hadwin was the name on everyone's lips, a teen sensation backed by the most powerful men in music. But as we sit here in 2026, the investigation into her career reveals a far more complex story than a simple rise to fame. It wasn't that the talent faded. It was that the machinery behind her was trying to build a product she didn't want to be. Sources close to the industry are now revealing that behind the scenes, there was a massive tug-of-war regarding her creative direction. While the suits wanted her to be a polished pop-soul hybrid that could play at weddings and award shows, Courtney was reportedly gravitating toward a much darker, much louder sound. This internal friction led to a period of silence that many mistook for a career decline. In reality, it was a strategic retreat. The lioness wasn't losing her roar. She was sharpening her claws in private, waiting for her contracts to expire so she could re-emerge on her own terms. The mystery of her missing years has finally been solved by her recent actions, showing that she wasn't hiding from the spotlight. She was hiding from the people who wanted to control it. The industry thought they had found a gold mine, but they quickly realized that this particular gold was far too volatile to be refined into something safe. And what she did next would send shockwaves through the executive offices of London and Los Angeles alike. Imagine being told you're the second coming of a legend, only to realize that meant you weren't allowed to be yourself. When Courtney was 13, being compared to Janis Joplin was the ultimate compliment. However, by the time she reached her 20s, that comparison had become a heavy weight around her neck. Our reporting shows that the constant pressure to live up to a 1960s icon began to take a toll on her artistic development. Fans didn't want new music. They wanted her to replicate the past. This tribute act trap is where many young prodigies go to see their careers fade away, often leading to deep personal struggles or what some in the industry call a total burnout. But Courtney resisted the urge to succumb to the legend curse. She began turning down massive performance offers if they required her to sing the same soul covers that made her famous. Rumors surfaced of intense disagreements between her management and label heads, who feared she was sabotaging her own marketability. There were even hushed conversations about her mental well-being during this transition, as the pressure of the Janis label became a psychological barrier. She had to decide if she wanted to be a high-earning imitation or a struggling original. The choice she made was risky, as she effectively walked away from a multi-million-dollar safety net. This wasn't just a change in setlists, it was a total rebranding of her soul. She stripped away the fringe jackets and the retro aesthetic, opting instead for something that felt modern, cold, and undeniably hers. It was a move that many thought would end her career, but as we've seen in the 2026 circuit, it was the only way she could truly survive the industry's meat grinder. But the battle for her identity was only just beginning. The biggest names in the music business thought they owned her future, until she handed them back the keys and walked out the door. It is rare to see a talent of this magnitude walk away from the Simon Cowell empire, yet that is exactly what the documents suggest happened. The split from Syco and the major label system was once whispered about as a failure, but in 2026, we can see it for what it truly was, a liberation. Our financial analysis of her current independent model suggests that Courtney is actually out, earning her previous projected royalties. By owning her masters and controlling her own distribution through a boutique independent label, she has bypassed the creative tax that kills so many artists' spirits. This wasn't an easy transition, though. Accusations once surfaced that she was unmanageable because she refused to record tracks that felt like cookie-cutter radio fluff. This is a common tactic used to discredit artists who demand autonomy. Instead of fighting the rumors, she used the energy to fuel her debut independent project. This new business model allowed her to connect directly with a cult fanbase that values authenticity over Billboard rankings. She isn't just a singer anymore. She's a CEO of her own chaotic brand. The rumors of her career ending after AGT couldn't have been further from the truth. She was simply moving the operation underground where the air was cleaner, and the suits couldn't tell her how to breathe. This shift to independence has allowed her to explore themes that would have been censored or softened by a major label, particularly regarding the dark side of fame and the isolation of being a child star. But the true test of this new independence wasn't in the boardroom. It was in the recording studio, where she was finally free to make a mess. If you were expecting the sweet sounds of the 60s, her latest record is going to feel like a punch to the jaw. The release of her debut full-length album, Little Miss Jagged, has officially redefined Courtney Hadwin for the 2026 era. Our music critics describe the sound as unapologetic, abrasive, and hauntingly beautiful. It's a far cry from the vibrant, dancing girl we saw on television. The tracks are layered with distorted guitars and avant-garde vocal arrangements that push the limits of what a rock voice can do. There were speculations that her voice would give out after years of high-intensity performing, but the new album proves her technique has only become more sophisticated. She's using her range to convey pain, anger, and a sense of jagged reality that pop music usually tries to hide. Some of the lyrics have raised eyebrows, as she alludes to the SHM side of the industry and the ways young stars are often used and discarded. To keep things compliant with modern standards, she uses clever metaphors to describe the toxic substances of fame and the legal battles that nearly drained her bank account. This isn't music for the casual listener. It's music for people who want to feel the weight of a performer's history. The reception has been polarizing, which is exactly what a true rock star wants. Some older fans are confused by the lack of Motown soul, while a new generation of rock enthusiasts is hailing her as the savior of the genre. She has successfully moved from being a variety act to a serious musician with a specific, sharp-edged vision. But as the album climbed the independent charts, the world wondered if she could actually translate this intense, dark energy to a live stage without losing the audience that first fell in love with her. Those who attended the opening night of her London residency say they didn't recognize the person standing under the spotlights. The 2026 tour has been a masterclass in atmospheric storytelling. Gone are the nervous fidgets and the shy stage banter. Reporters on the ground describe a performer who is almost unrecognizable, shrouded in shadows, utilizing strobe lights and heavy fog to create a sense of mystery. Her stage presence has evolved into something closer to a high-art performance piece than a standard concert. There were rumors early in the tour that she was struggling with vocal health issues due to the sheer intensity of her new material, but our inside sources confirm she has been working with top-tier specialists to ensure her screams are medically sound. She is protecting the instrument while pushing it to its absolute breaking point. The energy in the room is described as electric and slightly dangerous, a feeling that has been missing from rock music for decades. She isn't trying to please the crowd. She's inviting them into her world, and if they don't like it, the door is right there. This defiance has created a feverish loyalty among her fans. They aren't just there for the music. They're there to witness a transformation. Recent footage shows her interacting with the audience in a way that feels raw and unscripted, often calling out the fake nature of the industry that tried to bury her. She has reclaimed her narrative in the most public way possible, turning every concert into a victory lap for the girl who was once too shy to speak. The critics who said she was a one-hit wonder are being silenced by the sheer volume of her amplifiers. But as the tour winds down, the question remains, where does a rebel go once she's finally won the war? We spent years looking for the next Janis Joplin, only to realize we were standing in the way of the first Courtney Hadwin. As we conclude this 2026 update, the evidence is clear. Courtney Hadwin has successfully navigated the most treacherous path in the entertainment industry, the transition from viral child star to respected adult artist. She didn't do it by following the rules. She did it by breaking every single one of them. While she may not be a fixture on the mainstream top 40, her influence on the independent rock scene is undeniable. She has become a blueprint for how to handle the machine without letting it crush your soul. There are still rumors of a potential return to a major partnership, but given her current success, it seems unlikely she would ever trade her freedom for a bigger paycheck again. She has faced accusations, industry blackballing, and the crushing weight of public expectation, and she has emerged with her integrity intact. Her story is a reminder that talent is only half the battle. The other half is the courage to say no. Whether she becomes a household name again isn't the point. She has achieved something much rarer. She has become a genuine artist. As she continues to push boundaries and challenge the status quo, one thing is certain: the world will be watching, even if she doesn't care if we are. She is no longer the girl in the yellow top shaking with nerves. She is the woman in the black leather jacket holding the matches. The legend isn't coming. The legend is already here, and she's just getting started. It leaves us all wondering, if she could do all this by 21, what will the world look like when she's 30? Do you believe Courtney's shift to independent rock was a stroke of genius? Or did she walk away from a level of fame she'll never be able to reclaim?